And now for a look at our Health Minute this morning. There are turkey trots, reindeer runs, even a murder mystery 5K. But if you're planning on joining in on the fun run this holiday season, health experts say you need to prepare now to avoid injury. Mandy explains why fun runs shouldn't be done on a whim and what you need to do to train for them.
This is the season for themed races, but you could trot your way toward an injury if you don't train properly.
Just going literally from the out to the 5K is not a really good idea.
Orthopedic surgeon Timothy Miller with the Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center says not preparing your body can lead to injuries like muscle strains, tendinitis, IT band syndrome, even stress fractures from overuse.
You put a lot of additional stresses on your body when you do that, and not in the musculoskeletal system where we think about it most, but also on the cardiovascular system as well.
Miller says if you're just starting to run, see a doctor to make sure you're healthy enough to take on long distances. If everything checks out health-wise, he says to start slow, training at least a month out for a 5K, building up mileage gradually. He also suggests varying the terrain.
So running on hard surfaces, for example, all the time, like hard sidewalks, hard pavement, can put a lot of additional stress on your body from what we call ground reaction forces, leading to injuries.
Have proper footwear that fits well. Miller says to go up a half or full size in your running shoe to accommodate foot swelling. And he recommends breaking in new shoes before a race.
That means training them in them for at least a week or two to make sure you're comfortable with what they're going to feel on your feet.
Miller advises fuel your body, and even when it's colder outside, hydration is still critical. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Health Minute is sponsored by Northland Pace Senior Care Services. Discover more at northlandpace.com.
Home is where we want to be. It's where the heart and Northland Pace Senior Care Center is a program designed to keep people 55 years and older living independently at home. Their high level includes health care, transportation, housekeeping, socialization, and more. Transportation is also provided to and from the day center, where participants can enjoy lunch, activities, therapy, and more. Contact Northland Pace and see how they can work for you, or visit northlandpace.com.
Supporting producers yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Case IH represents more than 175 years of industry experience and are recognized today as a global leader, helping producers meet the challenges of modern agriculture. Our service technicians are ready and highly trained to keep your equipment working to provide you with peace of mind. That's what we do. We're Case IH. See West Plains Inc. and Dickinson, Bowman, Edinger, and Beat. Supporting producers yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Case IH represents more than 175 years of industry experience and are recognized today as a global leader, helping producers meet the challenges of modern agriculture. Our service technicians are ready and highly trained to keep your equipment working to provide you with peace of mind. That's what we do. We're Case IH. See Border Plains Equipment in Williston, Stanley, and Glasgow. Supporting producers yesterday, today, tomorrow. Case IH represents more than 175 years of industry experience and are recognized today as a global leader, helping producers meet the challenges of modern agriculture. Our service technicians are ready and highly trained to keep your equipment working to provide you with peace of mind. That's what we do. We're Case IH. See Northern Plains Equipment in Minot, Mandan, and Garrison.
All right, it is 11 o'clock on a Thursday morning, and we are happy to be joined with JD and Clay, Guns in the 701. We're back in the Crosshairs once again. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Great.
Morning.
Jay. Doing great, buddy.
Hey, thank you so much for joining me here. Of course, the unofficial state holiday is coming up tomorrow at noon. We've got the deer gun opener. And are you guys excited? It looks like you are. You're fired up. You look like you guys are ready to go here today.
We
Yes,
thought
sir.
we'd dress for the show today, you know.
Yeah, thanks for having us back, Jay. It's our pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, Clay, I want to start with you. How is the deer population this year, and what is your outlook on the upcoming season?
Well, you know, it's varying depending on where you're at. I can tell you right now that our deer populations they're recovering. I guess that's the best way to put it. Seeing some mule deer, seeing some whitetails. You know, 2 years ago, EHD came through this area in 3F2 and just kind of decimated everything. But seeing some deer out there, numbers are lower in my area right here in 3F2 than others. But I think it's going to be a good deer season. I really do. I think people should be able to put some meat in the freezer. If you're looking for the big bucks, I wouldn't get too excited. They're out there, but they're like they were even a year or two ago.
All right.
Yeah.
JD, what are
Yes,
some
sir.
of the regulations and requirements for hunting in the state? Are there any changes this year that hunters need to know about?
No, Jay, that I'm fully aware of. No, there isn't. I looked at the proclamation. If I missed something, I apologize. But I think actually there is one, Jay, that comes to mind. You can actually hunt deer now with a 50 caliber BMG. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I know somebody who's got one. I think that's a picture of him right there you got up. But and a lot of people think like a 50 will blow a deer to smithereens, right, Jay? People would think that, but actually it doesn't, because most of I think pretty much all the ammo, Clayton, is full metal jacket. I mean, it'll kill them quick and make a big hole, but it will not. You'll actually blow more of a deer apart with like a 30-06 soft point than a 50 caliber round will.
Yeah, and as far as those bullets go, there are some different come out. Texas in particular has a place down there. They look a lot like the old Winchester silver tips and react the same way. We worked hard on that, and basically
silver tip vampire bullet.
Vampire bullet, right? Yeah, no, I can tell you that it's actually they lifted the restriction of caliber altogether on the top end, so they don't just stop at 50 cal. You can go beyond that, and then it includes, of course, everyone forgot. You have the 500. Smith, and you have the 500 Leinenbach, the 500 Nitro Express. There are bigger calibers, even in handguns, that were restricted at the time because it went up to .49. So we only went up just a micro, literally a little micro step, and they just lifted that. So good for Game and Fish for doing that, and we're happy to give it a try. I'm definitely going to try to get a doe this year, probably with the gratis tag, and do it with. I really want to do that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm not hunting with a 50, Jay.
You're not. What's your choice? A weapon of choice, then, JD?
I hunted for years with a 308, and then I had some shoulder surgeries, and then I went down to a 6.5 Creedmoor, and that was kind of hurting. So now I got actually got a 7 Grendel, Jay. This is my magazine. It's a 10 rounder, and this is actually the cartridge for it right here. Just a little guy, 2.25 inches, 123 grain. Hornaday SST bullet in there, which coming out of I got a short barreled rifle actually too. That's coming out of there 23 in the cold weather, so it should be more than adequate to even take a big mule deer at 300 yards. When I set my limit out, if I had a bigger cartridge, I would have no problem shooting further. But I think that's an ethical range for this and a gun I have. So, we're gonna find out in short order, buddy.
Absolutely. Say, is there anything that's different as far as CWD, bringing deer out of the CWD region or anything? Did I hear something about that or read something about that? Am I wrong on that this year?
Well, it's actually been around now. If you come from a CWD unit, which 3 is, you got to leave the spinal cord and the brain basically back in that unit on the ground. It's a feel-good thing. There's no real... Game and Fish says, it's all scientific. That's bull. There's plenty of things to prove. There's a lot of research in Texas. They've dealt with this for a lot longer than anybody else. But that's their rule right now, just like they're not going to allow you bait because I guess politicians know more than those of us on the ground. And you got this unit that you got corn in the fields now. You're not stopping anything. So, yeah, there is some restrictions coming out of CWD units. So I guess... make sure you probably follow those retarded restrictions.
Sure.
I mean, you can turn your head. They'd like you to turn your head into, Jay, to test it. Actually, I think they said that for the southeast part of the state down there.
They did.
And as far as baiting west, the unit we hunt in 3B2 is actually the farthest unit to the west you can bait in. And we don't really bait. I mean, I throw a bucket of corn down. That's generally for bringing porcupines out of the trees who eat our trees, and I get them that way. But, it's not for getting deer. The deer come, Jay, where I put the corn down, actually the deer naturally come to that area. So, and, I'm not worried about that. Mule deer don't usually come into bait like whitetails do either. So,
sure.
And you asked Clay in the beginning about deer population, I would say in my unit, Jay, it is down for sure. I would say close to about half maybe, and I wasn't seeing any bucks at all, hardly any bucks, but the does were there. And last week, the first time I actually saw some mule deer bucks come in, kind of gave me some hope, and saw one decent one and a bunch of other smaller ones. But when all the doe there and the rut starts, I'll guarantee you some big bucks are going to show up from somewhere, and I just got to be there at the right time, and I got a lot of days off, so this is my Super Bowl, man. I love it.
Hey, do you guys got any tips or strategies for a successful hunt that you'd like to share with some of the viewers?
Yeah. First one is, if you see private property, whether it's posted or not, go talk to the landowner and ask, especially if it's posted. I got to put this out here. I've been out around the property here several times here over the past few weeks, and I can tell you right now, if anyone listening is around my place, my game cameras are now up. If I catch you this time taking my signs down, it's not going to be a good day for you. I actually had plywood boards that are about a half-inch thick with my signs on, bolted to posts, and they literally ripped them in half. They broke them so they could throw the sign down by my post. Pretty pissed off yesterday when I went around and seen that, and there's no sense in that. That just makes it bad for everybody, and I'm not holding every hunter responsible for it. But please, if you're hunting private land, there's no reason not to ask. And if you don't ask and it's posted, don't go on it. It's that simple, and don't destroy other people's property. So that's a big one. As far as that, get out there, walk, have some fun, take your kids with you. I mean, there's nothing better than taking your kids with, even if they're not old enough to hunt yet, and get them involved and get them out there hunting and having a great time, enjoying family time with dad and mom. Think of anything better. And to me, walking's always the best way. I'm sure Jamie will agree with that. Or blinds, like Jamie's got the Taj Mahal of blinds, so that's the place to be.
Carpeted and everything, Jay.
With blinds from the blind guy.
Jay, from one of our sponsors actually got his house. But when I used to walk all the time, for sure, and even our own private land, Jay, but as the older I got, my tip would be, if you do get on some land with some ravines or tree areas, and you can get up on a hill or something, don't get right on top of it. You will skyline yourself, and get below the top. And I would get in there before, if you get in the morning, get in there before dark, find yourself a good spot, maybe with some trees behind you, almost like if you're going to call coyotes, so it kind of camouflages your outline a little bit, and wait it out a little bit, because if you get a big ravine full of trees, there's going to be deer in there, and they're going to come out, and you will probably get yourself a more ethical and humane shot when the deer usually surprise them instead of walking, and you got to hit them on a full bore run. Same with the evening. If look, when the sun goes down, got a spot to sit, you're looking at, get in there about 2 hours early and sit down, and make sure the sun isn't going to be in your face. It's that you're in the shade. If you can get on a shaded area where the sun's not going to light you up, because the deer will see you. Sun lights you up. Other than that, you're looking for the big buck. Don't just shoot whatever comes out with antlers. Just wait around, because a lot of times if you see a couple smaller bucks come out, big boy pretty much just tells him and those, you guys go out and get shot first, and I'll wait here. It's happened to me before. So wait it out.
And if it's if it's windy out or things like that, I can tell you, look in them places where they're sitting out of the wind, kind of up, and them bigger bucks, guys, even though they like the ladies, and the mule deer rut's not quite going yet. Whitetails seem like they are. Those bigger bucks lay off by themselves. They really do. So if you see a group and these couple smaller ones down there, honestly, look around. You might see the bigger one laying up in there. They're big for a reason, and they're not dumb. So if you're out there, Jamie made some great points. Don't skyline yourself. That's the worst thing you'd ever do. Skyline yourself. Just take your time and enjoy what you're doing. So it's just relaxing to be out there, to me.
Not only that, Clay, if you do see deer, and if you are gonna put the stock on it, which we hunt. Yes, we have a couple hunting ducks on our property, but I will tell you that the majority of the deer we shoot are not shot out of either shack. We see them, and you got to put a stock on them. And if you're going down, don't just walk straight towards where you see them, because deer have especially if they're walking away from you a little. So the mule deer have a habit of walking about 100 yards and turning back and looking to make sure nobody's. So get yourself like on a side hill or stay low, just like a deer. Stay low, and if you can, instead of going straight at them, loop around like a almost like a military pincer move, come either left or right, and try and intercept them. Don't just straight follow them and just don't walk straight across the flat spot. Hey, they're right over here. I'm gonna walk here. Take your time. Get on the side hills, stay under cover in trees and bushes, and get us the stock. It's fun. I love doing that. Mm-hmm. And like a hunting shack, people think that's cheating. Well, guess what? I've had a lot of younger kids come out and shoot out of our hunting shacks. Yeah, they've killed some does out of there, and Jay dropped them right there. And I think that's a lot better than taking them and road hunting or whatever. Jump out and shoot, blow a leg off or gut, shoot them. The deer gets away. I don't like seeing that, and I think that kind of ruins a lot of kids on hunting when you wound the animal to recover it. So
yeah,
hunting out of shacks, in my opinion, is ethical. If you got to walk, that's fine, but just like I said, make sure when you're walking, you're not just making yourself so visible that's ridiculous, because the deer will be blowing out of the other end of the property and you won't even know it if you do that.
Sure. So have you guys heard personally any units or any regions that are going to be a good hunt this year?
Oh, mine's going to be terrible. Don't hunt there.
Everything's dead in my unit too. No,
yeah.
I can tell you 3F2. That's where I'm at. It's going to be hit and miss. There's areas that's a huge unit. It goes over from the river all the way over here by me. That's several. I mean, you're talking 100-mile span from east to west, and then of course it goes north up there and borders up there around Morton County and through there. But I can tell you right now that it's going to be hit and miss. Yes, there's areas that probably have great deer populations. There's areas that are not. Anybody that had a huge whitetail population, like I said, 2 years ago, it took a hit. We had a bad winter last year. It was starting to recover. Took another hit. This year it's looking better, but it still needs some recovery. But there's deer out there. There definitely is deer to hunt. In fact, I got a couple guys coming, favor to a friend of mine, his nephew, and their friend is coming. They got 2 doe tags, planning to be here tomorrow, and hopefully we can help them out, get them harvested so they can head home, because they only got basically a day and a half to hunt.
So yeah, Jay, I haven't heard anybody, and I've talked to guys on either end of the state that no unit really looks that good. I mean, I was going to be a little facetious, obviously, but our unit, yeah, like I said, it's better, not great. I talked to all the guys around there, friends of ours and people in the bars, and it's okay, but it's not great. So
right.
It'd be nice if we had a normal winter, because our deer actually the mule deer were coming through great last year. Through other than the whitetails, through the EHD, but that last storm hit, man, and that killed a bunch of mule deer off. Even, I mean, they were just out of gas and no more fat stores, and it killed a bunch of them.
Yep.
I know this past weekend, helping out there at the butcher block there in Mend, a couple we had to load out the big monsters that came in from Minnesota. A couple guys had it brought it in for us to process, and I'll tell you what, there was 2 big monster bucks that came in, and
awesome,
nice sized deer,
That's awesome.
Sized deer.
Big bodies,
JD,
too.
Yeah, real big bodies, big-bodied deer, absolutely. In fact, their nose was touching the ground. I think it's about 10 or so feet. Our rails are about 10 feet off the ground, and we put it in their tendon, and yeah, their nose was on the ground. That's how big they were. So
that's
big
awesome.
Deer.
I like big-bodied deer. That's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. JD, are there any challenges that hunters may face this season, with the weather being the way it is?
Boy, Jay, right now, I don't think there's really any. If it stays as predicted here, I think it's going to be great hunting weather. A lot of people don't like, hunting when it's 50, 60 degrees. I don't have a problem with that. Clay and Scotty do. I do not. It's going to be easy access, getting to places. Check out some of these roads when you're going out tomorrow, because we had that rain and moisture. I don't know if some of these roads are pretty and that snow melting. I'm actually glad the wind kind of blew yesterday to dry out some of these roads. But I mean, the only problems hunters are going to run into in the foreseeable future here is maybe getting land access and that. But I like gutting deer out when it's 55 degrees with my T-shirt on. I'll take that any day over last year.
Yeah, it ain't horrible. I'm looking at the forecast right now. We're looking in the 40s. It gets up to the 50s by
perfect.
Sunday and Monday are going to be 57, 58 right in my area, and then they're talking 61. So you're going to have to take care of them. No doubt. I don't think the weather's going to be a deterrent this year like it was last year. This time last year, at least in my area, if you were walking, it was a chore because there was so much snow out on them pastures. Like my pastures, I don't overgraze them, and I mean, I bet there was 2-3 foot of snow on them, and it was a chore. So this year I think should be pleasant. Should be a lot of fun. Weather's going to be great. Get out there, do some walk and get some exercise, and enjoy it. Enjoy the moment, guys. Not everybody has this opportunity. They really don't.
Right.
And I have the resources and what we got here. And remember, it's a privilege to hunt on private. I guess I can't stress that enough. It's a privilege to hunt private land. So please respect it. Like Jamie's talking, it's been wet around here. Don't go tear up section line roads.
Yeah.
And also, and I had a good discussion with some hunters here last week. They were actually driving quarter lines. You can't drive a quarter line if there's a road there or not. In North Dakota, it's section lines only that are considered public access. Do not drive them quarter lines. You're trespassing. Just so you know.
Jay, I got a question for you since you work at a meat shop.
Yeah.
I personally make my own sausage and jerky, but what would be your advice to somebody who field gutted out their deer, field dressed it, and they were going to bring it into you? What would you? Is there any advice you give them as bringing their meat into you?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we do dress it there. I mean, we'll do skin there if it needs to be skinned. We could do that for an extra charge. The thing is when we bring these deer in, it's really a personal choice for the customer themselves. A lot of it, over 75%, I would say, or at least 65% of them are getting deer jerky made. A lot of sausage, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of sausage. But personally, I love deer sausage more than anything. Jerky aside from, but it's the sausage that I like. And I would just make sure that your deer is as clean as it possibly can be. And I know there's a lot of when people bring in their deer, am I getting my deer back? Am I getting my deer? You do get your deer, because what we do is we'll bone that deer and we'll put it in our boxes or luggers with your name on it, and depending on when it is. Right now it's pretty good. Obviously the deer season really hasn't started, of course, so the sooner you get it in, the faster turnaround you'll get. So either we'll put it in the freezer until we can get to it, or if you bring it in, we'll get right to it that day. But make sure you try to get your deer as clean as possible. We're going to obviously spray clean it up as much as we can, but if you've got a messy, hairy deer, it's not a whole lot we can do about it. We're going to try as best we can.
I would imagine, too, that I've always done it anyway, especially with the temperatures we're going to be seeing. Get that skin off, guys. Have some coolers with you. Get that skin off as fast as you can, because you got to get it cooled down. It's driving around the back of your pickup, and it's 60 degrees out. I don't think you're going to like that result.
Not only that, Clay, it's far, far easier to skin a warm deer than one that sits there and gets cold out. I mean, that's the first thing we do is after we got it out is get it back and skin it and hang. Usually we quarter it out right away too. But, Jay, another question for you. Just a quick comment too. I actually took one of the years ago, I took a deer and I made sure, like you said, I rinsed it off. I tried to get all the hair off, and I told the guy that to me. He goes, I appreciate you doing that. A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
But
so
no,
they
you
don't.
said you like, that's unbelievable to me that people would be that irresponsible, but whatever. What kind of jerky do you make more of, Jay? The strip jerky or the jerky gun stuff?
Yeah, so we make the pressed jerky, which would be a ground jerky, more than the strips, more than the sliced jerky. Yep.
Is that straight deer meat then, or do you mix that with pork too?
No, that would be mixed a little bit. We'd probably throw a little beef in there with that.
Okay, good.
That's a good combo.
Clay likes that. He's a rancher.
That's right. In fact, we just got done cutting our butcher up here this past weekend. Here we got our own processing, I would say facility, but room in the basement, and had my nephew and his girlfriend. It was a family affair, and we had a good time. It was a long
heck
day,
of a guy let you borrow his stuff or two as a
had a hell of a guy here. He's part of Guns in the 701, and just nice as could be, and let me borrow that big stuff. It was great.
And I'll tell you what, this time of year, as I mentioned off the top of the broadcast, that it is somewhat an unofficial holiday, because it is. You get together with your friends, your family members. You harvest your deer, you bring it on into the garage or the Quonset, wherever it might be, and you just get together and have some cold beers and get together and spend time with your family and friends while you process that deer or whatever you might be processing, elk possibly, or you might be shooting at that time. It's just a fun time to get together and do that this time of year as you kick off the holidays.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, Jay, actually, I'm not saying I don't want to shoot a big buck, because that is my ultimate goal. Just a big one, but a mature one. But from You know, when I was younger, all you wanted to do was shoot something because I was great. I still, you know, if I want to shoot a lot of stuff, now I go shoot prairie dogs or targets. But, and then, you know, family and friends hunted with us. And you know, at this point, I get just as much joy out of my dad or one of my buddies shooting a big buck or any deer really that I do of myself. I just love the whole thing, like you were just mentioning, Jay, everything that's involved in it. I love that. And then we get together and make sausage, and it's great going into support. If you're in a small town, go in there and spend some money in the restaurants or their pubs and help those guys out, because this is a big money maker for them. And it's nice having a place to go in these small towns, at least one place to go. I mean, other than driving another, and have a few beers, get a burger or whatever they got going there, and support them. I love doing that too with everybody.
You bet.
Yeah,
Clay,
it's absolutely getting together with your friends and family, having fun. I will add one thing, guys, here with this. With the lower numbers of deer, if you're able to take out what I call them management deer, there's one that he finally showed around here too. He's a 3x2 muley. He's a big one, but he's spreading bad genetics, and he's been kind of elusive the last couple of years. Just kind of keep that in mind. It's a good year to actually take out those really.
There is a lot of weird deer too, Clay. I've seen.
Go ahead and harvest them and make it, call it a win, because it is a win, and you're improving that herd. And I know we're going to be doing that here if we can get on a couple of them. There's a whitetail doing the same thing on our property, and I want him gone. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you see those kind of bucks, I call them management bucks. Get rid of them. They're doing you no good, and they're going to make things worse in your herd overall. It's like it would any other herd that you're managing.
And I don't mind shooting those, Clay. I got a couple huge mutants in my garage. They don't score very good.
Stories too.
Massive, big, big. Just a lot of people think they're warts, and I like those. And there's one comes around our place. He might get the old Grendel round in him. So.
Oh, so this 3x2 is getting big now, which is bad. I mean, for the last few years, he's been spreading them genetics, but it would make a nice one, especially for a skull mount.
Yeah, perfect.
So do you guys have any specific hunting traditions or rituals that you go through to get ready for, or even the day of opener?
I tell you what, Jay, I don't really. I'm looking forward to getting off work tonight. I know I got to get a workout in. I don't really feel like doing that, but then just getting all my stuff laid out and looking at it, I get a checklist. If you think you're going to remember everything, don't. Another thing of advice I would say is write everything down, and when you see it physically in front of you, check that off your list, because if you don't, you're inevitably, you might even forget something if you got a checklist. But I love going through that checklist, and I'll probably call one of my buddies that I'm going hunting with, and we'll crack a few phone beers and talk about it and what we're looking for and what time we're leaving. And it's tomorrow. Like I said, Clay and I are on with Todd Mitchell from 8:15 to 9, and I told my buddy, better have that diesel backed up and idle in front of my garage at 9, because I'm ready.
One thing I can't stress enough, if you haven't done it, I'm sure Jamie and I both have, get out there behind your rifle. You still got time. Get out there today. See where it's hitting. Do a little shooting with it. Don't just grab it off of your rack thinking it's perfect. Especially some of these guns I see. People don't put on the good stuff. They don't have a worn set of rings. They don't have the good optics. They just got a deer rifle, and that's fine. Put behind it and take a look at it. Go put a few Freedom rounds down range and see how it's shooting, because that's going to be everything. And like Jamie said, the checklist. Put it. I do it too. I've got my gear lined up, sitting down here. I'm ready to go, I think, that way, but that's my tradition, is make sure my rifle is functioning, and I've got my checklist for my gear, what I want to take.
And, you're right, Clay. I mean, you almost, in my opinion, owe it to the deer to give it an ethical kill. Hey, I always say, if I'm going to get shot, I want it quick. I don't want somebody using some junk on something. But, and then I'd say, too, if you get your backpack or your hunting bag or whatever, get yourself a first aid kit in there. I actually have a tourniquet in my backpack that I hunt with. I hope I never have to use it, but I mean, if you're out in the field and you get, whatever, you cut something, you start bleeding out, or God forbid, a negligent discharge happens and you get shot in an artery and you're bleeding out, you're going to die if you don't stop that blood. That's so right. If you got access to that, bring that along. And then, like I said, any kind of first aid kit would be good.
That's perfect advice. Another thing I keep on there, and I learned this the hard way, I have an extra set of laces for my boots. I actually broke some, and I was way, way up in the Rockies.
That's true.
you're not going to go down and get a meat bear when you're 10 miles into the wilderness.
Jeremiah Johnson ain't around as a prepare for you.
He's not going to get you up there.
And what we ended up doing is my buddy Chris, he actually harvested an animal, and we literally cut some leather strips out of that hide. I mean, I had laces. So shoelaces are very important.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah. All right, before we wrap things up, gentlemen, I just want to get the bragging portion of the program. Let's get your longest kill shot. JD, we'll start with you. How many yards out were you in that longest kill shot of yours?
That was 425 yards, Jay. I've gotten 2 of them like that, and it was one-shot kills on both of them. One whitetail, one muley. They're both hanging in my garage with the brass casing from their antlers. So, but yeah, and I wouldn't have took that shot. I mean, I shoot all the time, but I wouldn't take it if the wind was blowing really hard. I think one was like a 10-mile-an-hour wind, which is not a problem for him, and the other one was pretty calm. So, yeah, most deer I've ever shot though, Jay, have probably been 250 and under.
Okay, yeah, wind should be fairly calm tomorrow as well. Clay, what do you got?
I have taken one at about 423 yards according to my rangefinder. One shot. That's the one whitetail I have actually on my wall. I'm more proud of the one I did the last year. 63 yards, man. I just like it when you can get closer to them. But yeah, and most of my deer, and it's probably because we're on private here. I don't seem like I get a lot of long shots, or I don't have to take a lot of long shots. But I've also put in the work to know what's on the property, where they're at, know their habits, and I'd much rather do that. But yeah, I can make the long shots, but I prefer not to. Most of mine are probably 100 to 150 yards most of the time.
200 yards was my longest shot, so that was a pretty decent. Yeah, it was a pretty nice little shot for me.
What'd you shoot that with then, Jay?
223.
Perfect. All right. Hey, a lot of people don't like that. I've seen 223s with 200 and in they work perfect.
That's God's round. Isn't that what we call that?
I said 223 is that's God's cartridge right there.
Yep.
You bet. Well, gentlemen, listen, I want to thank you for both being a part of it here for us. We learned a lot, and I want to wish you both the best of luck, and please be safe tomorrow, okay?
Thank you, Jay.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us back on, buddy. And then if I get one, I don't get too excited, I'll be sure and send you a picture of whatever we're getting there. So,
if you want, we can sure do a wrap of after deer season. And
be happy to do that.
Would love to have you back on here in a few more weeks. So, sounds great. Again, guys, thank you so much. And tell the folks where we can catch you there Wednesday nights.
Wednesday night, going to see us on YouTube, Rumble, Facist-book, our website. I don't think Twitter does it anymore. I think you got to pay there, but we do. It does go up afterwards, and that's at 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central. Of course, then we'll be right here on KFYR 550 a.m. on the radio every morning at 8:15 Central, 7:15 Mountain. You don't want
every Friday.
Every Friday.
And I say too, they got a lot of videos up on our YouTube and Facebook and that. Go check those out. Shorts, deer hunting and whatnot, shooting. Check those out. I'll be doing a lot of them during hunting season as well.
Fantastic. Well, guys, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And just one more thing to do. Clay, what do you got for me?
Keep your powder dry, guys. Stay safe this weekend.
All right. Thanks. Good luck.
Guys.
It is 11